I'm Spundy, and in this video we're going to look at the difference between precision basses and jazz basses. The precision bass was originally designed in 1950 by Leo Fender, went on sale the following year. It was called the precision bass because at the time most basses were playing on fretless upright basses. The frets on the P bass offered precise intonation. While this wasn't truly the first electric bass, it might as well have been because of how popular it became. The P bass went through a couple cosmetic and hardware changes through the 1950s, ultimately changing from a telly-looking body and headstock to a more Strat-style body we have now, and also the telly-style pickup eventually evolved into the split P pickup that we know today. This is a warm, woody, thumpy tone, but it can also be kind of bright and fairly aggressive if you roll the tone up. It works great if you're not changing your tone too much from song to song during a set. The jazz bass was first introduced in 1960. Most obvious differences are the offset body, inspired by the Fender Jazzmaster, and the two single-coil pickups. The name comes from the inspiration for the body shape, and also as a marketing idea to get more jazz players to switch over from electric bass to Fender. Controls were originally two stacked pots that were volume and tone for each pickup, but shortly after the jazz bass came out, it was switched to three knobs, which are volume, volume, tone. Also, the neck and nut width are a little slimmer than what you typically find on a P bass. So jazz bass is around 1.5 inches at the nut, whereas a P is more like, somewhere between 1.6 something and 1.8. This is a brighter and more mid-rangey type of bass, but can also get fairly thumpy when you roll up on the neck pickup, especially so if you pair it with proper compression and preamp and EQ. Together, these are the two most recorded and most copied basses of all time. And it's interesting that two of the first designs to go to market and become really popular are still so ubiquitous and popular today. So this is my Fender American Vintage 58 P bass. Put some Seymour Duncan Antiquity 2s in this bass, which are more like a 60s style P tone, but this is a late 50s style P bass. And P basses were popular with early rock and roll musicians and R&B players, like one of my favorites, James Jamerson. So P basses have a fairly woody and thumpy tone, but they can also get pretty bright and aggressive, like a lot of punk rock and rock musicians and metal musicians actually like them too. So P basses are cool because while it's not a crazy flexible bass, since it just has one volume, one tone, and one pickup, they're really popular with a wide variety of genres from rock to country to R&B, pop, and metal. Some P basses, like this Fender American Ultra 2 P bass, have a jazz pickup in the bridge for extra tonal flexibility. These are still considered P basses because it's still a P pickup here and a P bass body and a P neck. They're also known as a P bass special or P bass deluxe as well. And one of my favorite bass players of all time, Duff McKagan, uses a P bass special. Everyone needs a good P bass in their collection. These also make a great first bass because of their simplicity, but do remember if you're new to bass, that could be considered a little chunky. So this is my personal 1969 Fender jazz bass, and the jazz bass in general by comparison is a much brighter tone than a P bass and also a more high mid-range to it, probably because of the bridge pickup being on there. But some of my favorite bass players of all time are notable Fender jazz bass players like Jaco Pastorius, John Paul Jones, Larry Graham, and Tim Comerford. So in comparison to the P bass, you get much more overtones from the strings due to the bridge pickup. This helps articulate and experimental playing come through clearer. Jaco Pastorius, the player that's known for, kind of really revolutionizing playing harmonics on what is a jazz bass. So to show you, harmonics with a jazz bass with just the bridge pickup sound how you think they should sound. They really come through nice and clear. So I'm gonna play same kind of lick on just the bridge pickup, then both pickups, then I'm gonna do the front pickup, and then I'm gonna show you on a P bass just to show how that doesn't really come through as clearly. So that's with the bridge pickup, and then with both pickups, it's not gonna be as much. So you can hear already it's not as much of the harmonics, they're not as loud. If you're just on the front pickup, it's even less. So let's do some sacrilege and play a Jaco line on a fretted P bass and see how it sounds. So it just doesn't sound right, doesn't come through right on a P pickup. But the cool thing with P bass or jazz bass is that the jazz bass can kind of sound like a P bass if you roll up on the front pickup all the way and kind of warm it up a bit. You still can kind of get a thumpy thing. So jazz bass is still a little more flexible there. So with a slimmer, faster neck and more tone sculpting options, I think jazz bass is a ton of fun. It's probably my desert island bass guitar. And the P bass is an iconic, thumpy, raw, classic tone that's a staple of anybody's bass collection. What do you think? What are some of your favorite things about either the P bass or jazz bass? Head over to sweetwater.com to check some out.